My first jobs with Downtown Streets team was working at the Opportunity Center and the Drop-In Center in the kitchen, where I was told, well, Shannon, you better make sure you really want this because you'll meet 200 people and 600 different personalities in it. Which was true. And I had ended up, I was staying in a shelter, a cold weather shelter at the Armory, and I ended up getting pneumonia. And I tried to navigate one of our other medical facilities located down in San Jose, and was just, I couldn't do it. You'd sit for hours waiting, and then they'd say, well, sorry, doctors have gone home. It was a nightmare for me, just for me personally. Someone said to me, well, we've got a clinic right here. I said, what are you talking about? I said, well, we have a clinic, and it's right here in the building. And I went over there and met a lady who happens to be sitting in the room, Dr. McGann, and Dr. Bajra. And the only way I can explain is when you become homeless, the first thing you lose is your dignity. You're non-existent. People ignore you. They, basically, they won't look you in the eye. And I walked in there, and it was just like another little family. They talked, they spoke to you with dignity. You got the best absolute medical care. It was just like having a real doctor, not saying that you weren't. And I couldn't believe it. And I said, you know, and then it was and everything after that. You know, to stay in a shelter, you have to have a TB test. Well, there you can get a TB test down in a number of different areas in San Jose. Some of them cost you $35. Well, when you're homeless, that might as well be $3,500 when you don't have any money in your pocket and you don't even have bus fare. There's other places where you go and you sit for hours and they only administer 6. So you just hope that those 6 people ahead of you didn't need it. Peninsula Healthcare, you can walk in and say, I need a TB test. They say, fine. Can you set it up as long as you can get back here to read it? Flu shots. Get a flu shot every year. Didn't get one when I wasn't homeless, but I get one. It is absolutely a life-saving service that's provided. And this is from any number. I still see the home. On my way in, I had to run out for a few minutes tonight. On my way back into this facility, I saw 2 people who I know from the Opportunity Center. One of them says to me, I guess you heard about my episode in the hospital. Yeah, but you know what? Clinic's taking care of me. And that was just today. This is a service that we absolutely need. Anything you can do to help, I can personally tell you will make a difference. Thank you.
So I would like to, and I have the honor of introducing Supervisor Simitian, who has been, as maybe all of you know, a stalwart up north for services for our most needy, but most recently has helped engineer all the nonprofits working together at the Public Defender's Office, and then also engineered $1 million or so toward shelter beds for homeless men and women during the cold weather season. So we didn't have the Sunnyvale Armory anymore, and all those folks were going to sleep on the streets every single night, sometimes next to the creek, where a flash flood could come and does every year kill them. And so Supervisor Simitian stepped up and made that happen. So these people will sleep inside again this year.
I've got 2 challenges. One is nobody knows what a county supervisor is. Good news is I'm not going to try and tell you that tonight. The other is that I have a very difficult last name, Simitian. Over the years I have been called Simitian, Simitian. The only time I got a little annoyed was the fellow who complained about something Supervisor Stupidian had done. I draw the line there. One of the other challenges, though, that we all face is there is a popular misconception, particularly at the center of the county where I do most of my work every day, the County Board of Supervisors. There's a popular misconception that we don't have any need in the North County because people look at this area and they see, and they do, a prosperous place. And they say, well, you don't have any need there. have a struggle sometimes to communicate just how tough it is to be a person of modest means or simply down on your luck in the place that we're all privileged to live. And I would make the case, and this is what I share with my colleagues, that in many ways it's tougher to be a person of modest means here than anywhere else. In part because you are invisible. People don't think you exist if you are a person of modest means. They see all the wealth, they see the material goods at Stanford Shopping Center, they see the expensive cars in the parking lot, and so they just don't think you exist. If you do exist, then the question is, where are all the services you need to just make it through the day? And the answer is, they're concentrated where there are greater numbers of people who have the need, understandably. But it means that it's in some ways tougher, as I say, to be here, where there are so few services, relatively speaking. And finally, it's tougher because not only do people not know you exist, and not only are the services not there, but given the extraordinarily high cost of living here, it's that much tougher to find a buck in your pocket at the end of the week or the month for the things that you need. So if you live in a high-cost area where there are fewer rather than more services for people of modest means, and people aren't even aware of your existence, you know how tough it is. Now, years ago, my wife, before she was my wife actually, went to a community event and listened to me speak, and I said, "What'd you think?" expecting an adoring response, and she said, "Well, I thought you did a great job of describing the problem, but I think people expect you to have some solutions as well." So here's the solutions piece. If we all do our part, we can manage it all. There was a little push and shove here in Palo Alto last year, and after the hubbub died down, people in the political world said, "Well, you know, we're just a small town, we can't do it all." To which I responded, "That's right, you can't do it all. But if everybody does their part, and we pull it together that way, then we can get everything done that needs to be done." So that's why you need the Downtown Streets team. That's why you need a Peninsula Healthcare Connection. That's why you need an Envision. That's why you need a County of Santa Clara, and as the doctor said, help from our friends just across that artificial boundary that is San Mateo County as well. That's why we need the alternative services that we've been able finally to bring to the North County area just across the street from the county courthouse. That's why you need the social services office that not only stays in Mountain View, but now sends its folks right here to the Opportunity Center so that people who are already having a tough day don't have to figure out how they can get to the help they need. Each piece on its own, not enough. Taken together, start to approach what we need to do to be a complete community. Now, I want to close with a story that some of you may have heard me tell, but it fits the night and Dr. Choi's work in particular. Many of you may have known a fellow named Larry Duncan, who passed away within the last year or two. And gosh, 20 years ago, I was walking down the streets of Palo Alto. I actually remember it was November of 1995, and I had my then not yet wife along my arm. We're window shopping because it's getting around Thanksgiving time, and so everybody's got their stuff in the showrooms and windows and displays. And this kind of scraggly looking guy walks by, and so my not yet wife Mary kind of huddles up a little bit closer to me, and I wonder what has startled her, so I turn and look, and there's this scraggly looking guy walking down the street kind of mumbling to himself. And I immediately yelled out, "Hey Larry!" And he turned startled and said, oh, hi, and kind of kept walking. And then he turned around again and said, "Mr. Mayor," and I turned back, "Yeah, Larry." He said, "Congratulations on your re-election." And I said, "Well, thanks, Larry." And off he went. And my not yet wife, Mary, said, "Your town." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, you know the homeless people on a first name basis, and they follow your election results." That's a little unusual. And I said, "Well, not if you think of the town as a community. And we think of ourselves as a community here. Not just a place with an artificial political boundary around it, not just a place where we're privileged to live in a lot of abundance, but a place that is truly a community. And a community means that every one of us is a member, and that there are no strangers, they're just friends we haven't met yet. So let's keep Larry in mind, let's keep Michael in mind, let's remember that we're part of a larger community, and let none of us, myself included, ever use as an excuse the notion that we can't do it all. We can't, but we can do our part and take it together. That'll get us to the place we need to be. Thank you for all the good work you do.
What a pleasure to have you here in your leadership, especially in the supervisor seat in the county, which I will not explain either. I wanted to thank Joanna and Mariana, sitting right over there. I also wanted to recognize our board members. So if you're on our board of directors or were, put your hand up just so we can thank you for your service. And also just wanted to thank our amazing staff. Sherry's here. Who else is here from staff? So there's plenty more food from Scott's Seafood and wine here if you'd like. Don't forget us.
New Directions and the rest of PHC. Would you like to share about the rest of PHC? Or,
We do a lot of things at PHC, and one of them is case management that works with every single hospital in the county so that people are not released to the streets, homeless folks. So we use housing as an intervention, and then we also work with the County of Santa Clara in a full service partnership with the mentally ill. So we've done that for many, many years as well. So we have 3 definitive areas. One is the clinic, one is New Directions, which Sherry runs, which is the hospital case management, and then the other is the full service partnership with the County of Santa Clara. So, and we're growing. We've grown 3 times this last year from some humble beginnings, and we're pretty excited about that. And we're here to be a major player in helping to end homelessness in Santa Clara County. So please think of us as the end of the year comes and you might have extra money in your checking account. Thank you all very much.